You asked for it, you get it. Ryu and I will rip your photos into smithereens. Hold on to your headphones. Here comes the pain.
We have to do it very, very quietly because we have external circumstances we cannot control at this point in our juncture in our life. So, but will not be like, any less hostile. It's just usual thing. Um, Welcome to Big Lens Fast Shutter. This is Training Ground, and it's been a long time since we've done one.
A little while.
Yeah, so hopefully, it'll be exciting as usual. As we always, we try to actually make it as exciting as possible. Ooh. All right. So this is Anthony Mazur's photo. And yeah, let's see what we can do.
So I got started shooting high school football. So I know what the challenges are. But you can't do this, right? I think we can all agree that you just can't do this. The lights at this field are very clearly only coming from the side. They're definitely not coming from the end zone, which is very common, probably overwhelmingly common. So you can't shoot from here unless you're trying to do something creative. Yeah, if you want to use side lighting to make a portrait, or if you want to use it to do something differently, that's fine, but you cannot shoot straight up action in a high school football game when there's no light in the direction that you're shooting. You can't do it. This picture is not usable for anything. This isn't a matter of, oh yeah, to each his own or whatever. No, this picture sucks and it's unusable. Why? Well, the light is falling on the less interesting parts of the picture. I don't care about the people's helmets in the background because they're out of focus. And yes, they're celebrating, it looks like, but no, you can't really see that. The guy with the white tights on, yes, that's fine, but that's not the interesting part of the picture. The interesting part of the picture are their faces, their hands, them fighting over the ball, and you can't see any of that.
No.
It's just completely 100% in the shadows. And there's nothing you can do. It's not your fault that they set the stadium up like this, but you have to know that they did, and you have to change it up.
You got to shoot from the side, huh? At this
right.
point.
If you had been on the side, halfway between the goal line and the end line, you would have had a chance and you would have had light, and maybe you get it, but you're not getting it from here. There's basically nothing, no play that could happen that you're going to get from where you are here. So don't stand there.
Yeah. And it's something it's you, well, like Matt said, like you should know if you're shooting here, like, I don't know if this is happening the first quarter, fourth quarter, I have no idea. But if you just have a look at it very quickly, how the light is, I don't think like the sun was setting, all of a sudden the floodlights are on, like, oh my God, this is happening. No, then you should know where the light is and where it's hitting. And you should think, okay, I need to maximize my light, and you need to position yourself where you can do it. And the fact you didn't even think about it is really, I mean, come on, you have to be thinking. And once again, it's one of those things that, like, the more you just think, I'm just going to boost my ISO, I'll just crank it up, overexposed thing. That's not how you make.
Well, you can't because, if you had done that here, all it's going to do is make the white parts whiter way before any of the shadows. You can't make light. You can only amplify light. And you could, there were some fields where I had to shoot and that were too dark. And so I rigged up a flash at the bottom of my monopod to try to reduce red eye and still be able to get pictures. And they sucked. But, I was shooting for a newspaper that needed pictures one way or the other. And if the field's too dark, you need to bring your own light. You could do that here. You could definitely, it's close enough. If you're shooting in the end zone and they're within the, 10-yard line or something like that, you can do it. It's not ideal. You're not going to make great pictures, but if you just need a picture for a client or if you're practicing or whatever, you can do that. But there's no way that you can crank the ISO up high enough that the dark parts of this picture are going to be light.
No, you can't.
And if you do that, then the light parts are going to be completely blown out. It's going to look terrible. I'm a little bit concerned because this isn't an edge case. This isn't like could have gone either way. You got a little bit unlucky or whatever. This is just bad. And it wasn't like this picture wasn't posted like, help me, how do I do this? This picture was posted and I just happened to see it come in the pool and invited into training ground. There's a bunch of steps that got missed all along the way. Not realizing where you were, not realizing where the light was. And then, posting it as if it was a picture. It's not. It's just not. Even if there was something, historic happening or something like that, it still wouldn't be a picture. No. So I'm a little bit concerned because I would have thought we would have been a little bit beyond this. I mean, this is, like I said, not an edge case. This is just bad. No arguments, no nothing. You need light to make pictures. That's it.
I just want to cut, to commercial because we started Patreon. By the time you're listening to this, like the podcast, right? It should be up, right? The podcast should be up, and then we do training ground after.
No, this is going to be up today. I don't think the podcast is going to be up today.
Oh, really? Is it not done?
It's done, but I'm not going to put it up on the same day that we do this.
Okay. Well, I'll try to put it up then. So I will actually, I want actually, people to see this afterwards. But we started patreon.com where you can, basically pledge us every month a certain amount of money. And then you get to, get all the contents, for free. Not that it's not free before anyway, but I just want to tell you that we've got a person to put in $10 a month. So hooray for us. So with that wonderful news, no one's excited about. I am very excited. I'm really excited. Matt's not because he wants more. But hey, $10 is better than $0. So hopefully there'll be more people doing it. So, Anthony again. Let's see. She's not doing anything. And that's one of those things that, like, if someone's like not doing anything on the pitch or on the court or wherever sport is being played, then, for instance, the background is interesting, or the composition is interesting, or the lighting is interesting, and even that is not enough. And I always kind of believe in these kind of like sports photograph thing to be that two things has to be interesting. At least two things in the picture has to be very, very interesting for it to work. So in this case, like, let's say if I shot this exact same thing, I'll make the composition interesting, and then I'll make sure that there's something happening in the background that's interesting. But even that will not be able to save this picture because nothing really significant is happening in the thing. It's not like this very vast scenery that you see, this wide shot that you see, like, oh my God, how interesting is that composition or that whole, basically, like I said, scenery. But if there's nothing happening, there's nothing happening. And it's badly composed to start with, which is really shit. It's smack in the center, and she's making a face, which is not interesting. And she's doing something with her body, which is not interesting at all. So what, like, I don't understand, like, what the thought process that you went into, even putting this into.
It's tunnel vision. She's sitting on the floor and has a concerned look on her face, and then everything else kind of fades away. And I think everybody's been guilty of that at some point, but you also have to move past it. Her face, not that interesting, and the rest of it doesn't work.
No.
I'm not a huge rule of thirds guy, break it all the time. But the picture has to be good enough to break it. And this is, having her right in the middle of it like that is, it just doesn't work. Beyond that, again, you're shooting in a place that doesn't have very good light. I mean, this is definitely lighter than the football game, but the light isn't interesting. It's just really, that flat gym light. There's no drama. There's no nothing. If there were like a bunch of her teammates standing around her and it was just legs, that might work. But, again, we need to get away from the one-to-one, this could just be like a soccer picture where two guys are going for the ball. You need depth, you need drama, you need other things to make a picture other than, oh yeah, this girl in a uniform is making a face. It's too obvious. It's too, and again, could this picture be in a little local newspaper or the school newspaper? Yeah, definitely could, but that doesn't make it good.
No. Because you don't want to really just settle for just, that. So Mike Groom, you cannot expect anything more than him than to do car pictures. So this is a car. There's a lot of smoke, and that's about it. Did he colorize this? Did he?
Yeah, it looks like
he desaturated something in the background.
Yeah, the smoke looks
worse.
The smoke looks really, really blue.
Yeah,
which given the light, you wouldn't really. The light looks like it's coming from, pretty high in the sky, so that.
You don't want to get into the thing of just like, start fidgeting in Photoshop thinking you can actually save something. It's I've said this before, like if it's shit that you're eating, whatever sauce you're going to put on doesn't really matter. It's still going to be shit. And this really is the point in case here. I mean, what is it here? You're going to desaturate stuff and then saturate things. So, I mean, it's not.
I feel like we should be further along with Mike. Again, we get it. Shooting motorsports largely sucks because the access isn't good for safety reasons, and you have sponsored billboards all over the place, and you can't get close enough. And, but oh man, I mean, really
bad stuff,
Oh, that's not acceptable.
No.
We're looking at, let's give him a fair shake. Let's break this down. The car is too far away, but not far enough away. So, there's no detail in it, but it's also not just a car part of the landscape. So you're in no man's land distance-wise. The only thing, like if you took away the smoke, this would just be a car sitting on a track. So then you have to ask yourself, is the smoke enough to make it an interesting picture? No. Drift cars make smoke. That's what they do. And having smoke doesn't make a drift car picture. It's just one element of it. So what do you want? You want to be next to the tire as close as you can, making a detail shot, or you want to be really far away where there's so much smoke that that's all there is, just a tiny little bit of the car and a whole bunch of smoke. And then we have composition problems like, okay, the sky and the trees in the background, that's cool if you could use it. But then you look in the lower right-hand corner and you have guardrail. No, that's never going to be okay.
I do wonder, like, is it now it's gone to a point, there's a bit of an equipment thing that he's there. So I'm assuming that if he waits a bit more, the car will go a lot closer. And I'm assuming he thought that, well, the car goes a bit further in, towards the left, then he has a really crappy background. Like maybe I'm just kind of assuming like that's what he actually was thinking.
Drift cars will drift on certain parts of the track. So, they'll gain speed and then drift around a corner. And if this is where the car is drifting, then this is where you need to be. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of skid marks closer. So, I don't know. This doesn't look like the spot.
Maybe that's what it is. It's a matter of like you have to pick a better spot to be able to actually shoot. Like if you wouldn't want to see car drifting, I mean, there's people standing on top of the car. Maybe you can shoot from the top. Like there's different ways to shoot it. And I think you kind of get caught up in I want to get the smoke. But if you look at it and thinking, okay, if I do this particular shot, I mean, I'm a drift cars, right? They all drift, right? That's the whole point. There's a lot of them going. Then wouldn't you think at some point, it doesn't really work. I'm going to go and try going somewhere else. I just kind of think that it's really quite lazy for him to actually be sitting here and just thinking, I'm just going to keep on shooting here. until I get like the whiff of smoke that I want, knowing for the fact that like this particular angle, particular composition, lighting, everything else doesn't work. You know what I mean?
I
So
do. Yeah. The thing
call me like
about,
lazy.
yeah, it's not, I don't know whether it's lazy physically or it's lazy thought wise, but really nothing good was going to happen here. You can't get low enough from this spot. You can't get high enough. I'm just not really sure what the point of it was. I know I've shot drift cars several times before. I enjoy it. It's um, you can make great pictures doing it. Um, but the thing is that you need to find the spots on the track where, I don't know, here it's like some parts just have guardrails and you can't be very close to the guardrail because that thing will just crumple. But there are other places where there are cement barricades and you can definitely be fairly close to those because those aren't going to move. I've been pretty close to drift cars, 10 feet or something like that away, and you can do some really cool things. But the further away you get, the more it just becomes NASCAR.
Yeah, it's not that interesting,
No.
All right, let's go along. That's enough with Mike. The fuck is this? Is he now into desaturating things? Is that how it's? Oh man, Mike.
Yeah.
You can't do this.
This is just full on rebellion.
Oh my god. No, this is so tacky.
I mean, the one good thing that I can say about this is that the tires stacked up like that is the beginnings of a background. It's not high enough to do what you're trying to do here. You would want a whole wall of tires, or you want to be close enough.
What is he trying to do here?
That the tires would be the only background because those trees peeking over them doesn't help at all.
No, the thing is terrible. It really bothers me.
Yeah, I mean,
oh god.
Listen, if you want to take a picture of a car sitting there, you're like trying to make a brochure picture for the people that built the car or whatever, then you need to get a whole lot more sophisticated than this, right? You need lighting and you need backdrops and, so you're not going to make that kind of picture on the fly. So what is this? This is an iPhone picture.
Oh god.
To say, oh yeah, isn't this car cool? Yes, this car is very cool and I would like to own it and I would definitely like to drive it on a racetrack, but that doesn't mean that it's a picture.
No, it fucking sucks.
Ugh, yeah, this is not good.
It's terrible.
Not good.
Okay, at least I will give him that he was thinking. Now it's not racing. Well, I guess it is. It's a bit of a preparation. I'm assuming that's what it is, huh? I know that you kind of want to get detailed shots and then just go for the detailed shots. You don't have to include that car in the background in that crappy house or whatever it is, garage or whatever that thing is in the background. You want to shoot chrome and shoot chrome. Go crazy, dude. Shoot chrome. But like it's so half-assed. Like you're just like you're like in two minds about it. I want to get like enough f-stops so I can actually have the other car in the background. Like no, don't do it. Like you have to kind of simplify things a bit more and kind of go back to like really basics and think what works and what doesn't work. And I feel like he's just a bit like he's trying different things.
Yeah, it's
which is
I hate to be this picky on an otherwise shitty picture, but here's a little detail. You have to know what kind of picture you're taking. And we were looking at the other one, the one before this with the cool car, and you say, okay, well, this is attempting to be like a car, poster of this new car or something like that.
Exactly.
But you didn't go, you didn't do it with enough care and attention to detail and setup and all that kind of stuff that would end up being that. This is like, okay, you have the look of, look at the cool fender of this car and the rear quarter panel. I don't know, whatever.
The panel. Yeah.
And you have the cool wheels and the chrome pipes and all that kind of stuff, and that's all fine. But then if you look on the tire, you have the bits of the leaves still on the tire. Now, I'm guessing this isn't Mike's car and he doesn't have permission to touch it or whatever, but you can't try to make a product shot and then still have, like, if you saw this in the, hanging on a wall as a poster in a store that sold tires or something like that, the picture would not have the bits of leaves on the tire. It would just be the tire, right? It looks sloppy. It looks like, okay, they went to the trouble of washing the car and washing the wheels and polishing the chrome, but there's bits of leaves on the tire. So if you don't want that there, then you need to crop it out or compose it out. It looks sloppy the way it is. So you have to think about what kind of picture are you trying to make, and what is the the accepted aesthetic that picture has. You can't have trees peeking over the tires and the other thing. You can't have it lit like it was. You can't just expect desaturation to help it. For a picture like this, you can't have bits of leaves on the tires and a weird looking warehouse in the background.
But I just kind of think that he's a bit confused and what he's trying to do now these days. I mean, not these days, but at least like for this round. Because like this, like I don't really know what he wants to do here.
It can't be discounted that he's just trolling us.
No, he's a fine young man. He just needs to find out what he really wants to do, like here, like just in just taking picture and thinking like this is gonna work, is gonna frame it right. Like it just doesn't. So, but before we go on to the next shot, Matt and I are running this podcast called BigLensFastShutter.com. So that's BigLensFastShutter.com. And we're trying to, we've been doing it for 5 years, and we've now been trying to make sure that, we kind of get paid for what we do, because we have very, very, very good contents. So if you want to pledge, as much money as you really want to, this has actually been a very, very helpful website for a lot of people who's actually like made it to cover of magazines. They've gotten hired through, because of our training ground and our podcast. Go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/BLFS and pledge as much as you want to. And, keep us running, because, more money you have, the more motivated we are going to be, and more motivated to look at your shitty pictures and talk about them, ad nauseum for the next hour. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a long one.
Excellent sales pitch right there.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. There's so many of them.
No. Oh, come on.
What's it all Mike stuff? Oh, it's because I'm actually clicking on that. That's why. Oh, sorry. Oh, Mike, sorry. I thought it was like all Mike stuff for some reason. It's like, why is it all Mike stuff? I think Mike's like, you can't put any more stuff like next time, because, by the way, all the stuff we've seen is really crap. So, all right, this is Simon West, and it is rugby. I think it's rugby. I like the idea. It just kind of feels there's no, like, I don't know where to kind of concentrate, to where to look at.
You can't, everything, when you have a picture like this, everything in it has to be in focus. You can't have some of the boots in focus and some of them out of focus, because it's never going to work like that. You could get super lucky and have the ones that aren't in focus off to the side or something like that, but the problem is that the green boot on the top is out of focus, and that's the first thing that you see. It's very difficult to overcome that. I like it as an idea. This is, if you look at this, it's like, yeah, okay, this is rugby or football. I don't know which
rugby,
one it is.
It looks like a rugby type of thing.
Probably. But it also says football.
Really?
Well, I mean, those are football spikes. I don't know if they make rugby spikes. So, either way, but this could happen. Guys get tangled up. But yeah, I mean, higher f-stop, get it all the elements, all the feet at least in focus. I think it would be better. Yeah. I don't think that I think this is something that you could try whenever.
Like corner kicks, throw-ins, not throw-ins. What is it called? When they actually throw
Line.
balls in rugby from the sidelines. I don't know. They're called.
Isn't it a line out?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, try it again.
No.
No.
I think he was
So
very, very happy when he got that. Like, yes,
yeah.
the puck is not stopping in midair. It's awesome.
So yeah,
No.
this hockey, hockey is very difficult to shoot because the puck moves as fast as the ball moves in baseball. You have the pitcher throwing and then the batter batting, and the ball is 300 feet away before you can even focus again. So, yes, the puck is in here, but if you look at the guy who's shooting, the stick is 100% swallowed up because it's right on the guy. Like there's no, the stick doesn't get to bounce off the ice or anything like that. It's just him behind the stick, which means you have to really go hunting for the stick. So then it just becomes, I don't know, a guy like posing awkwardly on his skates or something like that. But it's, the picture is not, it's not interesting. There's nothing interesting happening. And then visually it's not balanced because you have the one guy who's all the way over at the left edge and the other guy's in the middle. Lots of white space that doesn't really help. And, this isn't interesting. It's just a guy taking a shot.
Yeah. No, it's just not, it's sorry. It's one of those things we see every day, and I don't really...
Hockey's tough, man. You need to shoot a lot of hockey to get good at it. And you need to shoot it like back to back to back so that you can get the timing down of it. I struggled with hockey for a long time, but
That's still sucks at hockey, after all these years. So you kind of have to see
but you need to, there's interesting plays. There's checks, there's fights, big goalie saves, guys falling down on the ice and sliding and the ice chips up with their skates or whatever. Like you need to find those things, because just passing and shooting or whatever is guys skating with the puck. It's not ever going to be interesting enough. Yeah, this is fine. The guy's eyes are closed, which is unlucky, but there's not, I don't think there's really anything that we can.
No, it doesn't suck. But it's a little bit indifferent about it, which probably is even worse than sucking.
Honestly, I don't, crop it to the guy. Those other guys aren't helping, I don't think.
No. Well, to me, it's kind of like the one before, like the football photo. Like, there's nothing absolutely wrong with this. It's just a bunch of dudes cycling, and you see the background mountains and valleys and rocks and a little bit of water. But kind of what to do. I think the best thing about this whole thing is the mountain in the background, right? I would think like that's the main thing. So you kind of like, I like to see you utilize that a lot more. Whether you can basically, wait for the riders to come towards you and maybe shoot through them, and you can see the mountain in the background, or something like you actually focus on the mountain instead of the riders. Like there's a lot of things you can probably do. This looks like a very, very, very safe thing to do. And subsequently, like it becomes quite boring. There's nothing really wrong with it, really isn't. But you kind of have to.
Well, he definitely should have been a lot lower than this.
Yeah, but like I kind of think like he has to like find out like what the main attraction of this particular spot is, and that's basically the hill and the mountain in the background, the scenery, and if you
right, so be closer to that turn so that mountain is directly behind them, because it's the rock face that's interesting. It's not the elevated stuff. Yeah, in the middle even, or on the left. It's just that granite on the right. So you want to place the riders where that's the dominant thing in the background, not 1/3 of what the background is. This again, cycling like this, you have a lot of choices to make of how close you can get to the riders, which on something like this you can get pretty close. But then you also want to know like what the perspective is going to be, what's the background going to be, is there going to be stuff in the frame that I don't want in the frame? Like for example, the rocky the little hillside on the left in the foreground is swallowing up the riders. So you would want something that was more consistent, like grass or pavement or something like that, so that so the riders would be more defined. The little drop off of rocks on the right is not aesthetically pleasing, so I would want to compose out of that. There's water in between the road and that big mountain. I would probably try to use that.
Yeah, but I
So
kind
you
of think
have
that. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying you have a lot of choices, and you're including a lot of stuff that isn't visually pleasing and
No.
minimizing the things that are pleasing. And you need to get away from that. You need to, I don't know. I mean, do you go out to see? I wonder if he goes out for the ride and then just stops and takes pictures or something. But if you know where they're going to be going, then you need to drive through here with your camera. Like if you're serious, if you're committed to getting better at it, if you're committed to getting better pictures, then you need to go here before. So
Yeah,
I used
because
to
you can.
shoot I used to shoot a big cycling race out here, and I would go as soon as they put out the map because it was different all the time. And I would go to the legs that I was going to be shooting, weeks before or whatever, and figure out this is where I want to be, because you think, oh, well, there's 100 riders in this race or something like that. Um, it's going to take a lot of time for them to go by me. No, they're by you in 30 seconds, and you definitely don't have a chance to move around. Like you need to nail it right away. And then if you are, if you're going to jump in your car and take a shortcut to a different part of the thing, like that's what you have to do. But on something like this, where you can just be anywhere, go see it before and take your camera and the lens you're going to be shooting and figure out what's the depth of field going to be like from here, and how am I going to minimize the things that I don't want in the frame.
Yeah. No, I just kind of think there's like you can probably shoot it vertically as well, like portrait. You can shoot just a lot of things you can do. I just think you need to think about it a bit more. Even if you get to that, obscure location, you can kind of like visualize how things are gonna go because it's not like it's especially climbing. So it's not like going super super fast and like going different lines. They're gonna be in packs, and you can just say, okay, they're gonna be in packs of like this, maybe like I'm at 6, 7 riders together. Okay, I'm gonna look at it. You're gonna have to like think in your head how it's going to look like before you start taking pictures. That's really severe. It's just for everyone, not just for you. Reed.
It's not. Go back one for a second.
Ice gone. Talk about it as if it's actually
um,
it's there.
so it's not enough to say, oh well, there's this mountain, and then so I'm gonna stand in one place so that the mountain's in the background, and then all I need to do is focus on the riders when they come by. That only gets you 20% of the way. The rest of it is figuring out how to maximize what you're doing and how to make it look like a picture and not just a guy standing there and somebody saying, okay, shoot now. That's really all it feels like. It's like you just got to a place that had a pretty background and then waited for the riders to come.
No,
And it's
that's not good.
on and on.
I'm gonna kind of go on a bit faster because I think we took a lot of time in the beginning. Not that
On
we actually
pictures
don't
on
like
pictures
to.
that weren't even in training ground.
No, it's all Mike's fault for having shitty pictures. Simon, this is nothing. I think you really cropped it like in this movie, like 69 format, thinking, oh, look at these dude going down. It just doesn't. You kind of have to like think of yourself like what doesn't work here. Nothing really works. He's not really anything particularly really interesting, and he's lying on the ground. And you have this wonderful light, and the point is that the action isn't interesting, and the use of light should be much, 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 much better in a situation like this where you have really, really good light. So I'm gonna go on. All right, Matt Cohen. It's
Yeah, you just
Ashton
cannot. You can't do this.
Mitch. No.
Um, you just can't do this. I mean, if you are trying to do like, it's fine if you want to keep the camera still and have a long shutter so that the people who are doing something are in motion and blurred out. That's fine. But when you do that, you can't have a poster in the background. You can't have
Well, the
people
poster is very
in
interesting poster.
you can't have people in, you know, various states of giving a shit in the background. Um, like the ref kind of moving, the people definitely moving, and then the guys in the background standing completely still. You know, the perspective is sloppy because you are shooting at an angle from the wall. Like, you need to shoot, if there's something in the background, you need to be square to it, because otherwise you're leading the viewer right off the edge like this. Like, you know, the horizon is off. And then to top it all off, it's in black and white, which means there's somehow less definition than there would have been if it was in color.
Yeah.
And there's just no reason for any of that. Black and white is not a crutch to get rid of distracting things in the background. I don't know where that kind of came from. It's not going to help you with that. Like, it's just not. If there's things in the background that you're trying to not have in the frame, then don't have them in the frame. Making them black and white does not focus anybody on what you want them to focus on. It doesn't work like that.
Just very quickly, like, I find the posters fantastic, and you kind of have to like think as a foreigner, like, what's interesting is, like, you know, it's like me thinking like about sushi or, like, you know, ninja or what are those things that like really typical, you know, foreigners think about Japan, and like that's that's what they find very interesting. So for me, like, looking at this, like, I think it's like I mean, like an army or a military thing, because that, you know, posters there. Just, like, you know, focus on the poster, and if you want to blur all the action in the front, that's fine. I mean, as long as the referee's out of the thing, if you have these two guys going at it, but you're squared to that poster and all these like guys looking at it, not the actual match, that's far more interesting. So you kind of have to, like, this is just really sloppy in every possible way you can think of. And the only thing you were concerned about is turn this in black and white post, and then on top of that, try and, you know, get the whole blur thing going on. So no, it doesn't work. Same thing. Can I go on?
Yeah.
Same thing. Oh, not doing the same thing again. Sorry. Jimmy. Oh, it's bad. Why? Like, what? I don't understand this. Like, they just won whatever, like, fucking, you know, whatever it is, the Kleenex bowl or whatever the bowl that they actually gave out to everyone basically in the entire country.
It's not a bowl game. It's Iowa, Nebraska. It's like, you know, the last game of the season every year or something.
Oh, it's big. You know, it's two big teams. They have a trophy coming in.
It's not a bowl game.
Whatever. Okay, it's not a bowl game. But they've, you know, they want something. So shouldn't we be like thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna, you know, get a wide shot or a close shot or something. You gotta be a bit more. You gotta really get in there too.
I feel like he's done a hands-on trophy picture that was better than this before. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no man's land. It's weirdly cropped. You know, I get that he was going for the big N on the scoreboard.
About the big N if it doesn't work, you know?
It's just not enough. Like, the hands, a detailed picture of the hands on the trophy is one thing, but if you're not going to have a detailed shot of that, then I want somebody's face, or I want a sea of helmets, or, you know,
something.
You got to give us something. Like, this is like, it's accidental almost. Like, it's not like, I'm guessing he was holding the camera up over his head, and the key to doing something like that is you want people to think you were holding it over your head, but you still managed to compose and get an interesting picture. Not, you know, these guys are real tall, and I just, you know, jumped up and held my camera up there.
No, Alvaro, this doesn't work for a lot of reasons. It's just like, first of all, you know, the action itself, like what's happening. Like, I'm assuming he's celebrating, but I have to assume that because I can't really see his face. There's no teammates. He's just got his hands up and he's running. Second, the focus is just a bit too not there enough. Um, it's if you're doing panning, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You could get really cool shot, but in most, like 90% of the time, it's gonna suck. And this is the one that it really just sucks because there's no context. Now, you know what? Let's take the context even out because I just want to really put context in because we have no idea what the context is. We're just looking at really just visually what's happening. There's just nothing happening. You think something happening because you know what happened. But if I don't know, if Matt doesn't know, or if, my daughter who's 12 months old, no, wait, 14 months old, doesn't know what's going on, you look at it and thinking, I mean, so what? I mean, so what? It's pan and blurry. Like, what does it really do? It doesn't really add to the whole thing either. And even if it's not panned, it doesn't work either because it's not very. The composition is very bad. I think you can't see the guy's face. You can't really see clearly what's going on. He's not jumping up in the air. He's just kind of going, through the motions of celebrating with big ears. That's it.
I think you either, if you don't have the face, right, it's not a deal breaker, but you're facing an uphill battle. And what do you need if you don't have the face? I would want his head all the way back, like, looking up at the sky while he was running, or I would want it, at a cool angle or something like that. Like, this just kind of sucks the energy out of it because his head is not doing anything interesting. Like, you have his arms and you have the fact that he's running or whatever, but you need more to make it into a picture that anybody would remember. I'm not quite as down on it as Ryu is. It's not good. I don't think it's an absolute disaster. I just think that it's uninteresting because you don't have a couple of key details like other people in the background, or some of the floodlights maybe, or his face, or a better position on his head. No. It's nothing. It's absolute. That's testing the white balance of, that's it.
So there's another trophy shot. If you want to do something like this, like kind of concentrate on the reflection has to be interesting. So if the guy's kissing the trophy, you can see the guy kissing the trophy, or the hands like into the thing. And I would just really concentrate on that and not try to actually get the entire trophy because I can't see anything. There's nothing happening in there. And that's really important that you can see something happening on the reflection or in the reflection. Now, otherwise, just go for a wide shot and just create a scene that everyone's celebrating, but not this. You can't you can kind of see like the guy down below, but you can't. He's not doing anything to the cup, or not. You can't really see it because it's like a reverse. Is it reverse fisheye? Like it is kind of no, because that'll be bigger. No, it is kind of reverse fisheye. Yeah, it's like a circular thing.
What the hell is a reverse fisheye?
I was thinking like it doesn't even make sense. It's a fisheye thing. I don't know. I'm a bit tired.
It's not a fisheye.
It doesn't work.
Right.
All right, you can do the next one. There you go.
Yeah. No. These like behind, it's like the 3/4 behind or whatever. They're fine. You get like the edge of somebody's face. It can be kind of cool if they're recognizable and if it's a cool angle and you have some cool light, which there is cool light here.
This is bad.
But I'm guessing that this is him pulling on the black armband, which may mean something. I don't know. I think captain's armbands are black. Maybe somebody died or something like that. But
died.
This isn't like what I would want to see for that is everybody pulling them on. If you want a black armband shot, you need everybody pulling them on. But his arm cut off like that is awkward, and not being able to see any of his face is awkward. Yeah, it's just not good enough. It's
he cropped it. So. Is it the first time he actually put something in, Diego?
Yeah, well, it's only been what, 3 years or something, 4 years.
It's terrible, this one.
Yeah, but this is basically what they all look like. It's either coming at them or going away
Going
from
back on
them.
it then very quickly.
Yeah, it's
Passing, just full
there's just
passing in your face.
there's no thought involved in this. This track that he shoots these on looks really interesting. Like it goes through, villages and houses and shit like that.
Mm.
I can't believe that this is what we see from this. It's not enough that the bikes are cool and the outfits are cool, but you didn't do any of that. So this is an iPhone picture. This is like I was standing by the side of the track and these bikes went by me. It's just reacting. All it is just reacting to what's going on in front of you. There's no planning, there's no thought, there's no composition, there's nothing. There's tens of thousands of pictures like this for every race that there is. And
Like, what is the significance of the whole thing? Like what am I supposed to be looking at?
I don't, you have the empty space with the fans kind of, and then you have the other edge of the picture is half of a bike. No, you have to think more. You have to take advantage. If you only shoot, from what I can tell, 1 or 2 races a year or something like that, you have to maximize those things. You have that whole time, and then you go back to that track the next year. You've been there, you've shot there. Just come up with a better angle. Talk to somebody who has a house on that track and figure out how to get on their roof, or to shoot from their living room window or something like that, and get shoot real wide and get their living room in the picture, and then have the bikes be in the background. It's like these people, their life sucks because for one weekend every year they completely close the road and they can't go out for groceries or something like that. Like, there's so many things that you could do. There's so many things. And what do we get? The same picture year in, year out for at least 3 years and maybe more.
Like the thing is, like when they do those like cornering things, like they lean and everything, like there's not even that, and it's just like they're just gonna pass by him. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go now.
He's got plenty of shots where they're leaning. They look basically like this.
Yeah, I don't want to see the same shit over and over and over. Oh god. I like this one.
Yeah.
I really do. I think it's very good.
It's fun.
I love all these really weird heads in the background as well, I love that one.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. So that's it. See, this is what you get. Fine. Oh, close, huh?
Yeah. You know what's wrong? It's the geometry that's wrong in this. It's
interesting, but it's so not done. It's so close to being very, very good,
Yeah, it's the player on the left edge and then the empty space on the right edge, and you can't crop it any differently because you need that little bit of ground.
The space on the left as well,
and then you need the ball. So the things weren't, the stars didn't align in this.
But it's your fault, Scott. So it's not like it's anyone else's fault but yours. So
you know what I would do, honestly, and not for anything, just like for my own enjoyment or whatever, I would Photoshop the shit out of this.
Yeah, especially the left, because you can just
I would take everything out. I would take everything out. I would just, and it's the easiest thing to do because the background is black. I would just make everything black. Like, take that player out on the side and take all the bottom out and just have it be the girl who's heading the ball on the ball. And
it's really good idea as well. Like, I love the idea. I think it's a great idea, and
it's cool light and it's minimal and all that. It's just unlucky.
Yeah, so you should do it again, Scott. Like, I think the one before that was really good, and this one's got a potential to be very, very good. And you can do it again. Riku exposure. What do you think? I think it's too. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Like, first, I had to look really close. Like, oh yeah, the guy's jumping.
It's like jumping over the goalie. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this is what you're looking for. Somebody doing something crazy, but it's just too distracting.
Yeah, so much thing
Very,
going
very
on,
difficult to
and
figure out what's going on.
so not bad, huh? But that's good.
Yeah, this is good.
And that everyone who wants to pan, this is how it should be. That you can see something not moving, which is in focus, and everything else is moving. And let that be. This is actually a very good lesson in how to pan. That something has to be in focus, and I mean usually the face, something
Yeah.
stationary, and then everything else is moving. No, I think it's well done. I don't like the background that much, but you can't really help it. It's fine. Let me move along. Ugh. All right, Matt. Why? Why is this just so bad?
Yeah, this is bad, and it he can shoot. We've seen it.
That's terrible.
I don't understand how something this bad. I don't understand how this made it off of your camera. This is a delete in the camera. So what you want to show is celebration and dejection in one shot, which is kind of like the holy grail. But what do we have? We have the goal and the water bottle and the bags in the background, and it's like a fence, and there's some trees. But then whatever, all of that could maybe be overlooked. But then you have the coach or sub or something like that standing directly in front of the people who are celebrating. So then it becomes not a celebration and dejection picture. It becomes a dejection picture with a guy blocking the celebrating.
There's not much you can do from this angle for this shot. I think you have to, think quickly and think, okay, but the thing is, like, if they're celebrating that far from you, if I wasn't this, particular, like, I don't know, spot, and I see that this is happening, this is quite far. It's on the other side of the pitch. So I would just kind of wait until they get a lot closer to me and like get celebration or the dejection, or maybe two if you get lucky. But you cannot kill two. Like, sometimes you can only kill one bird with one stone. You cannot kill two, and you have to be thinking quickly. But in this situation, it's very difficult to do anything because it is very, very far, and it's like the best is you can actually, and it just doesn't work because of that guy. And like, yeah, can you move? You can move, but by the time you move is over because the guys who will be celebrating will usually be done. But then think ahead and think, okay, if the match is about to end, okay, like maybe if it wasn't maybe if it wasn't a close match, maybe it was like 3-1, and for a fact like one team's gonna lose, one team's gonna win, and this is maybe if it's a big match, they're bound to celebrate. Then you kind of have to move your ass out of your position and you go somewhere they might celebrate. This is not a professional match. Just go out like there. And if it's one of those things, like if match is over, we can actually rush onto the pitch and go to the pitch, go on the pitch and get close and get the shots. Don't wait where you are. Just go into it, and you can get much, much better shots because this is just not thinking enough to get the things done. By the way, because I'm gonna plug Patreon here and there because it's very important. Matt and I have been doing Big Lens Fast Shutter for 5 years, and then we think that we have a very good product. And if you think you're getting something out of Training Ground and or the podcast, you can go to patreon.com, not /BLFS, and pledge as much as you want to. And there's a lot of, rewards that come with your pledge as well. So, let us know. There's nothing. Like, what's happening? The guy's on the ground, he's hurting.
Yeah, you have to get to the point where you can recognize the guy walking in the background. Like, this can't be that bad because that guy is just walking away, right? So right away you're telling people this is nothing. This guy twisted his ankle and fell down. one person cares, the other person doesn't care. So 50% of the non-injured people don't care.
There should be
You
like
have to
a
be able to
rule.
recognize that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's distracting. I like this one. It's very well done. I love the pose.
Yeah, it should be cropped higher because the gear or the other players,
At least
I
the
can't
gear,
tell
you
what's
know?
going on in the front.
Yeah, I like that one. I don't. It doesn't really bother me that much because I think his hand gesture and his this, with the look of his face. I don't know what happened. He's doing it really. It's great. I think the emotion and he actually
Well,
captured
yeah,
really good that moment.
that part of it's great, but you're diluting it by having those blobs. I guess it's his catching glove
Yeah, I think so. And his
and the
helmet.
blocker and his helmet. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you don't need those in there. They I hate to tell people to get rid of things that add depth to it, but the problem is that the moment is good enough to stand by itself, and because he has a red shirt on and those things are mostly white, it's distracting. So I would get rid of them.
I actually like. I think I actually asked the whole thing to depth. You know.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Okay. That doesn't like
I
it.
like the moment. No, I like the moment. I like the picture. I would just
Yeah,
crop the
very good
ball.
moment. Hmm. I would like to have seen the whole thing reflected on the thing, huh? No? I don't know if it's really possible. I don't think it's
You know
possible.
what sucks. You know what sucks about this is that the reflection isn't clear. It's like the double because it moved.
But I don't like if like the whole thing was in. You know what I mean? Like if the whole sequence was in that, but I don't think it's not possible because from the angle you can't not get more than this, right? Because he cannot move in like towards the left anymore because he's on the other side.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's just unlucky. Can't really do anything about it, really. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and it's probably some of this is luck. I don't imagine that he set out to make this picture, but then you're looking through them and you're like, oh, okay, well, here's
Hmm.
basically a one-to-one reflection. Um, yeah, I mean, it just didn't work. It's
Yeah.
definitely it's something that um, now that you notice that if you're shooting from this position, you're going to be able to get some kind of reflection. Then you can try it, and maybe you get luckier, or maybe the the fist isn't up in the face, so that you have two faces, and maybe they're arranged so that you can get both of them in the reflection.
Yeah, but I think it's like that's at least he knows now from this distance, from this angle, he can get the guy in the black end fully. So it has to be a moment that you can actually the guy in the black or whatever. It's like that part of it, like that section of the image, will get completely reflected. So you can kind of like plan accordingly after that and think, okay, you know what? I'll just wait for something to happen in this distance. Well, not distance, this angle. And the reflection would actually look very, very cool because I'll have the whatever the steel beam thing could be right in the middle, and I could actually get the entire thing in because I think it's a very good base that you actually know like you can do this. So like the next match or next game they're gonna be shooting, I would totally be actually thinking like, okay, I'm gonna really concentrate when they come down on this side of the rink. I'll really, really concentrate, make sure that I get anything that actually comes down this way, and see if I can get a shot. What I did before that didn't really work out. Someone's playing tennis. Someone's playing tennis.
Yeah, it's fine. The
Yeah.
he got away from the super obvious. He didn't worry about having the ball or even the racket in there. That's fine. He shot where there was light on the subject and no light on the background. You know, it's okay. This isn't a good picture. It's just not a bad picture.
No, it's not a bad picture. That's good.
Yeah, this is good.
That's the first time I might actually be saying about Reed's picture, but it's good. It's a good
Yeah.
picture. It's very. I love the composition. Love it. I absolutely love the composition.
So this is the kind of thing that you can do
That's
where,
really
you know, we were talking about Mike's drifting picture before where, you know, the smoke only filled up like 25% of the frame. Well,
yeah,
here the smoke is filling up like 80% of the frame.
yeah. That's
And
great.
it's, you know, he has the head peeking around it, which means, you know, it's a picture about flying snow that also has a skier in it rather than a skier with a little bit of flying
Yeah.
snow in it. And, you know, that makes it way more interesting.
It's a great
He got,
composition as well, you know?
yeah, you know, the light's cool because it's only bouncing off of part of the snow and the rest of the snow is in the shadow and you can see
Mm-hmm.
the chunks of it flying around. Um, you know, yeah, it's a good picture.
No, the read, I think, is the first time.
You know what I would do? You know, to make this, you know, the final bit better, that blue sky doesn't help it because there's not enough
Yeah.
of it.
You can probably
Um,
crop it, huh? That thing.
right. So you
Yeah.
crop it down to the bottom of where that blue sky is, and then you just have um, the black background, the skier himself, and then the snow, and that
Yeah.
makes it.
Or
That
you can
makes
just
it pretty
clone
cool.
stuff and just like, Photoshop it as we
I
said
wouldn't do
earlier.
that. No, no need to do that here.
Tim Ritter. So here's the other case of I said cloning. Here's the other case of I want to say blurring as well. Can't what's the word again?
Panning?
Panning.
Yeah. Well,
That
this
he
is excellent. We're trying
panned
to teach people about panning, and you can't remember the word.
blurring. I like blurring. Panning. I think he's done the panning very, very well. That's exactly what he should be doing. I love the scoreboard. It's actually a bit blurry, and I like that touch. But the thing is that particularly very interesting. I mean, I don't think it's a terrible picture. I think it works in a way because you see I don't know, the blue team, you can see them all blurry, and I think the composition is good, but I think it's just not, I don't know, the impact for me is not there. But maybe on second thought, I actually don't mind this picture now. I really like the scoreboard adds to it very, very well, and the panning works. So I'm fine with this. I've changed my mind now.
Yeah, I agree with you before. I don't agree with you now.
Really, you don't like it?
The way I look at it is that, you know, he did a good job in recognizing that it was an opportunity to pan, and that he actually did get her moving, but that the other people aren't moving enough to blur them out enough, and the scoreboard is really distracting. These high
Really?
school gyms, they're difficult. That's,
I
you
like
know,
the
they're just difficult.
scoreboard on that one. I think it works really well. Really, you don't like? Really?
Yeah, I
I'm
don't like it.
surprised, Matt Cohen. Tim, it's not that bad. That's bad.
Yeah, I mean we've been over it with the volleyball picture from before.
Yeah.
An interesting expression, even coupled with a hand gesture, is not enough when you
No.
have. Um,
But coaches are really exciting, you know?
yeah, this, you know, you have the guy sitting at the table in the background and the two people from a different
Uh,
team on the right, and then the people from his team sitting on the bench, and none of them are adding anything to the picture. And, you know, he himself is not big enough, and the expression and whatever he's doing isn't interesting enough. It's just
no.
not good enough.
And finally, we have
Yeah, so
skateboarding.
I invited this one in here. I think that
Was
his
it
pictures are.
HDR?
I don't care. No, it's flashed, which is
Oh,
fine.
it is fine.
Um, you know, I like some of his pictures. Some of them I like more than others, but they're all relatively interesting. And
Hmm.
he does what a lot of people who shoot extreme sports don't do, which is he gets really close. You know,
Hmm.
whether it's to the lip of the bowl or the ramp, or, you know, on the steps when people are skating or whatever, and that's all really cool, and he gets interesting kind of angles.
Hmm.
um, this is far away for the sake of being far away. It's not far away because it helps. If he had been way closer to this, like, I like the idea of using the beam to I don't know what the move is called, but you know, he has all four wheels up on the beam, and that's cool, and it's symmetrical, and the beam has graffiti on it, and you know, the whole thing is gritty, and that's cool. But the problem is that the way the flash is going puts half of the graffiti in the shadow and half of it in the light. And then you have the light from outside of the bridge and the random cars and the random guy walking through and the random column on the right edge, which all just definitely take away from the excitement and the, you know, the any kind of artistry that could be going on. What I would want to see is, if you're going to strobe it straight on, try to get the background to fall off into shadow, get the lighting even on the graffiti and get the lighting even on the guy. You know, do it from super low so it looks like he's really high up there. Like, it just seems like this was a wasted opportunity, because the most interesting part of it is so small and it's so easily sucked up by the background and the shadow from the beam.
I have more of a problem with the composition of it. The fact that like the beam is there, the main beam, you can make it so that everything is really straight on, and you can actually, for instance, like have the beam all the way to the right or all the way to the left. I mean, obviously including the skater, or in the middle. But it's just like the foreground thing. I was kind of thinking when I first saw, it's quite cool, you know. But the foreground thing doesn't really add to the whole, you know, the scene. And I'm a bit of a sucker for symmetrical stuff, and this is actually a symmetrical place. I mean, I would have actually put it right in the middle, and you can see like things actually going on the right side. It's just like some random guy walking. But on the other hand, on the left side, there's this guy, you know, doing tricks. And I think that would have been much, much, much more interesting, much cleaner looking, symmetrical wise, and it will just composition wise, I think it will actually work a lot better. And you can kind of see like I hate that word, juxtaposition between the skater and the everyday left that's actually going on the right hand side. It's close, and I think it's something that's basically redoable, and you have to kind of like do it like a couple of times to see what works, but I think that would actually work. Yeah, same thing for the flash thing as Matt said, like it's just, yeah, you gotta go straight on, so you can actually, like, you don't want to have this like really weird half, you know, flash thing and half not flash thing on the beam. Not good. Oh god, I need to go and eat. This tires me so much, but we do it because we love you. So first and foremost, thank you for watching the video. We really appreciate it. If you want more of us, please go to biglensfastshutter.com. That's Big Lens Fast Shutter. That's one word. And if you haven't forgotten, and if you haven't, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/BLFS and make a pledge to our cause. What's our cause?
Being able to continue doing the podcast and training round.
That. So this really is a 100% user-funded podcast. Please click on the Patreon button, which you don't have. You can go to patreon.com/BLFS. And I'm doing this because Rob told me to do. And it's actually a very, very good thing that I'm actually doing this, because otherwise I'll definitely forget all these things. So thank you very much for joining us, and hope to see you back again next month. And yeah, if you want more information, biglensfastshutter.com. You can go to flickr.com. You search for Big Lens Fast Shutter. You can go to Facebook, and we have a presence over there. Twitter is at BLFS Podcast. I sound like a professional just about there, but I'm going to quit because I'm a bit tired and I'm hungry. So,
okay. All right, I got to go.
Okay, bye.
All right.